we're all one, so it's all good. Again, there's nothing bad. It's just an experience. Like in her infinite wisdom, Miss New Age from the I didn't really get that angry until a few people brought that up to me afterward. Like, I heard it and I was like, oh boy, one of these people, who just sat and heard the whole Free Your Mind 2 conference and obviously didn't understand a thing that was said. But when some other people, especially Jay Parker, really brought that to my attention again, it really did sink in and hit me hard. That what this person is saying is, that there's no such thing as bad experiences, as evil being done directly to people. And this comes out of this notion that we are creating our reality individually. If you were raped as a child, you must have created that somehow. That people could be made to believe this bullshit, I can't even believe. I have a hard time believing that this is how malleable that the human mind, the psyche actually is. That it can be distorted into that condition to accept that. I mean, that person has to be so mentally destroyed to believe that. Children are bringing on their own pedophile, torture. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah, and you're not a total retarded person. I mean, let me tell you something. People with Down syndrome have nothing on people who think like that. Not to make this some kind of a trivial or ad hominem name-calling fest, but let me tell you something. I don't look at people with a debilitating genomic disorder as retarded in the same way I look at these people as retarded. I mean, they're not slowed down. They have a disorder, people with Down syndrome. The word retarded is not even as applicable. Somebody who thinks that innocent children who are being raped somehow created that because they're creating their own reality individually, as the New Age nonsense teachings are trying to convince people, they're retarded. They're slowed down in their mental capacity and their understanding. That's what a real retarded person looks like. Somebody with Down syndrome was just dealt a bad genetic hand because of something that happened to the human genome, which we'll get into in future episodes. But somebody who thinks that, children are bringing about their own totally violent experiences that are being done to them by someone else, and they think they understand how the laws of attraction work, they are retarded. Meaning they have been slowed down. That's what the word retarded means. Having been slowed down. To retard is to slow down progress. They have been retarded by this religion called the New Age movement, which, if you believe in it in that way, will turn you into a retard. So, there's no bad experiences. It's all good. Everything is good. Everything that's happening is good. It's just an experience. That's all. Moving on to slide number 39, many New Agers tout the concepts such as right and wrong as dualistic. Right and wrong are dualistic. Oh, there's no such thing. It's all an experience. There's no right. There's no wrong. I can't even tell you how many people in the New Age movement have told me this. And are open about it. And are proud of it. When you talk about right and wrong, you're reinforcing duality. No, dunce. Right and wrong exist in nature. The reason that we're in the state of duality is because we don't understand what rights are. We don't understand what wrongs are. And we're listening to idiots who are telling us that there's no distinction between those two things. So we never exercise judgment about those things, and therefore we never actually truly come into conscience, which is actually exercising one's conscience is making a willful decision between the objective difference between right and wrong and choosing the right action over the wrong action. And more people than not are not doing that. They're not exercising their conscience for the very reason that they believe in this bullshit called moral relativism. Because that's what this is. The concept that right and wrong are dualistic and therefore they're invalid. They're trying to convince people that everything that happens is okay, it's all good. This is a form of moral relativism. The idea on slide 40, I put the words moral relativism up on the slide, that there's no such thing as right and wrong. Man gets to make that up. It's all just an experience. Nothing is good, nothing is bad, nothing is right, nothing is wrong, nothing is good, nothing is evil. And you know what that's called? It's called bullshit. That's what it's called. It's called bullshit. Because if you'll believe that, you'll believe anything. That is just a total naive child's way of looking at the world. And they got people believing that they're somehow spiritually elevated because they no longer accept the dichotomy between right and wrong. And again, this is all about accepting that man makes up right and wrong. That's what this is about. They're trying to peddle that notion of moral relativism in the New Age movement. They got it peddled really well in government, that you could turn a right into a wrong. All you got to do is sign a law about it. You could take someone's right away. Turn it into a wrong that's punishable. Oh, and we can turn a wrong into a right. Oh, these people want to do all this manipulation with people's money, and ultimately it results in total theft, the degradation of their savings, the degradation of their investments. Oh, well, that's legal. They did it legally. We passed a law saying you're allowed to do this. So these bankers can't be tried. They're too big to fail. Don't you know? We could turn a wrong into a right too, just as easily as we could turn a right, like free speech, into a wrong. And people believe them. They accept this as true. Because they are under mind control and have their head up their ass. And quite frankly, I'm totally tired of it. I'm tired of it. I don't want to live like this anymore. And in order to stop it, you need to get involved. You can't just say you know and that's good enough. You need to know it to such a deep level that you can communicate it effectively and start doing that to everyone around you, regardless of what they think, regardless of how they will receive the message. And the thing that's preventing people from doing that is fear. So the correction to this, slide number 42, New Age correction number 3, it's not all good. It is not all good. And I have a picture of Jesus giving people the finger, trying to add a little bit of comic levity into the situation, but it's actually very serious. That people think that there's no such thing as the difference between right and wrong, and everything is good and it's all just an experience, and you're judging by saying that action is wrong. This is what they want. This is what they're trying to do, to stop right action, which is speaking about what right and wrong are and telling people who are doing wrongs, you have no right to do this. You're wrong. This is morally wrong. It should not be allowed to stand. You should not be allowed to continue to do this. We're going to hold you accountable. They don't want that. They want moral relativism because then they can continue to get away with whatever crimes they want. Get people to accept that something's moral in one area and immoral in another area. The same thing, the same behavior. Oh, at one time that was immoral. Now we magically pass the law and now it becomes okay. Or at one time that was okay and now we magically pass the law and it becomes not okay. You know, you got to understand the laws of man are written in a way that it totally expresses that the people who are writing this are moral relativists. They believe that there's no such thing as actual objective right and wrong. Man's law is not based on morality. It's not based on rights. They don't know what rights are. This is the whole problem. This is what human evolution is leading to, is the deep knowledge of what a right is by developing the deep knowledge of what a wrong is. You need to know what a wrong is to understand what a right is. Now here's what right and wrong are. The essence of right and wrong on slide number 43. There is an objective, definitive, natural difference that exists in creation inherently between right and wrong. Right is that which is true. It is based in truth. It is correct. We say that something is morally right, and we say something is correct, and we call it right for a good reason. They are one and the same. That which is based in truth is in harmony with natural law, because natural law is truth. So to say something is correct, it's based in truth, it is right. Rights are based in truth. To say something is right and mean that it is moral is because it is in harmony with natural law. Therefore it is moral, therefore it is a right. When our actions are based in righteousness, they do not result in harm to others. That's it. If you're doing something that is one of your rights, harm is not being conducted to another person. Soon as harm to another person becomes involved, you don't have the right to that action. If you're physically harming someone, if you're defrauding someone of their rights, if you're defrauding someone of their property, or damaging their property or their security in their place of living, you do not have the right. You are no longer in the right. You have crossed the line over to the other side called wrong, because you're causing harm. Wrong, we use the term to mean both incorrect, you're wrong about that, it's not correct, and immoral. What you did was wrong. It harmed someone else. And there's a reason we use the word wrong for both of these in English. Because when something is not based in truth, it goes in opposition to natural law. Like authority and jurisdiction and government and false religion. So that's what this New Age movement is trying to obfuscate. It's trying to keep people from the simple understanding of this dichotomy that exists in nature. It isn't duality in the mind of man, because right and wrong don't exist in the mind of man. They exist in nature. They're part of the natural world. They're part of the universe. They're inherent to the universe itself. When actions are based in wrongdoing, it leads to harm to others. It results in harm to others. Real simple. So when you say, oh, an experience isn't right or wrong, it isn't positive or negative, wrong. If an experience is in harmony with natural law, then it's right. And it should continue. It should be allowed to exist. People should not try to shut that activity down, because they don't have a right to shut down a right. Because in doing so, they'd be committing a wrong. When an experience is resulting in harm, when somebody's having a harmful experience because somebody is causing harm to them, it's not just an experience. It's called a wrongdoing. It's in opposition to natural law and should not be allowed to continue to go on unchallenged. So stop giving me this bullshit that things are just experiences and they're not good or bad and they're not based in right and wrong. Nonsense. This is total New Age bullshit. And you need to know the difference between right and wrong. That's what it's all about. That's why we're on this planet. Continuing with the correction to it's all good, when in fact it is not all good. The knowledge of right and wrong is conscience. Unless you really understand what rights and wrongs are, you do not truly have a developed conscience. So that woman who says it's all just an experience, is conscience truly born inside of her? The answer is no. And I'll tell you what, you ask, again, like I said, you ask people about, go back in time, ask people in Nazi Germany, do you really have a conscience? Do you truly know the difference between right and wrong? They would have said immediately, right to your face, yes, absolutely I do. And they'd be total liars. They would be totally lying to your face, thinking that they're telling you the truth. And you know what? It's no different in the United States today. You tell people that believe in government that you truly do not really deeply in your own being really understand the difference between right and wrong, and they'll get so offended that they'll want to do violence unto you. Because you're telling them you don't really have conscience. Common sense and conscience are not truly born inside of your being. You have not been born again, the second birth. The physical birth into the world of manifestation, into the physical realm, is the first birth. First birth. The true development of the knowledge, holding the knowledge of right and wrong inside of you, is the second birth, being born again into conscience, into the definitive knowledge between right and wrong. The word conscience comes from Latin. Wow, surprisingly. People don't even understand how many words come from the Latin language. And Greek as well, as we'll see later. The word con, the prefix con in Latin, when you tack it onto a word, it means together, with, together, part of. The Latin verb scio, sciere. Scio is the first person present tense. Sciere is the infinitive. Sciere is what we base the word science on, the second part of the word conscience, con-science. Sciere means to know. Conscience literally means to know together. And what conscience is knowledge. People don't understand that. When you tell them conscience is knowledge, people get confused. They think conscience is action. Conscience is not action. Exercising conscience is action. Conscience is knowledge, common sense, to know together. To know together. Literally, to know together. Sciere con, to know together. Common sense. To be able to sense together. In common. It is the knowledge of the objective difference between right and wrong. The inherent and objective difference between right and wrong that is not subjective and is not based in human perception. It wouldn't matter if there was no human perception, right and wrong would still exist in nature. They are not constructs of man. They are based in what is. They are based in truth. They are based in natural law. They come out of natural law, which is the law that governs consequences of right and wrong behavior. So on slide number 45, I simply put up there that is what conscience is, common sense. People don't see it like that. They don't think of it like that because they don't understand the true meaning of the word. Moving on to slide number 46. Continuing with this New Age correction of it's all good. See, this comes from the idea that everything is duality. And thinking right and wrong, good and evil, those are dualistic notions. Just like we think that spirituality is all about total transcendence of matter. The New Agers believe, we're going to ascend out of this realm. Yeah, we're going to get 7-foot-tall light bodies. I've heard this one. We're going to ascend into angelic form of beings that, are these light bodies, and we're going to go to Andromeda. Yep, that's what's going to happen when we don't even understand the difference between right and wrong. Yep. Good luck with that. Let me know how that works out for ya. Okay? I mean, it's a child. This mentality is a child who wants to hear what they want to hear. Forget about what is or what's true. That's meaningless. I have my beliefs, and they get crazier and crazier and crazier, and what's real, forget it. I'm putting on these glasses, and I can't see the real world. These are my Andromeda glasses. I see all the spacecrafts in the sky coming down to rescue us from our immorality. when I put these glasses on. Don't you know? Yep. See, this whole notion comes out of the idea of the primacy of either spirit or matter. And again, here's another one of these slides that is going to upset people. Everybody. Because most people are in this schism. That either one or the other is primal. One or the other is superior to the other. You have scientific materialists that, matter is primal. Matter is superior. It's the root of everything. You know? And we're going to delve into the world of matter by building bigger and bigger and bigger colliders to look for smaller and smaller and smaller particles. And we'll get down to the essence of what this all is. Because it's not infinity in both directions, no. We'll find the basic building block of everything. And it'll reveal all the secrets of nature to us because, hey, everything is this big machine. There's no free will. It's all big machine. It's a dead thing. And matter is going to unlock all the answers. Then you have the New Agers and the religionists. Spirit is primary to everything. It doesn't matter what happens in the physical world, to a point where, you just need to believe something. Forget about what's going on in the physical. This world is transitory, and it doesn't even matter what happens here. Doesn't matter. Takes matter out of the picture. The actual happenings. What on earth is happening is irrelevant. So that's all in the physical domain, and that's meaningless. So spiritualists and those who buy into religionism, and the New Agers, all think spirit is primary to matter, and it's superior to matter. Matter is inferior to spirit. Just like scientific materialists believe that the matter is primary and it's superior to spirit, or there is no spirit. And both of these views are totally imbalanced. One comes from the primacy of matter, comes from a totally left brain imbalanced worldview. The primacy of spirit comes from a totally imbalanced right brain worldview. What we need to understand on these two simple slides, if people could really get this, what's depicted on these two very simple slides, what I call the non-duality of spirit and matter, is that they are one and the same. The spiritual realm is the physical realm. The physical realm is the spiritual realm. This is where it all occurs. This is where all the lessons are learned. You're not going anywhere else. You got to be here now and get the lesson. Nobody's coming to rescue us from ourselves in our own ignorance. You're here for a reason. You're here to learn the lesson that will help us to transcend this condition and actually be free. So we can go on to do incredible things and truly evolve. Then maybe we'll evolve into some other form at some future point, way, way, way in the future. But we're not there yet. And I'm not worried about that now. Because I'm here now trying to do active work on the ground in the real world. Not thinking about when is Zoroaster going to come and rescue me? When are the, Andromedans or the Pleiadians coming down in their big craft to transfer our minds into the big light bodies that they're promising us and take us off to a place where there's no violence and slavery. Well, that ain't how it's going to happen. This is all childish nonsense because people don't want to understand that hard work has to be done here. Deep understanding has to be developed here. By reading, by working with yourself, by working with the shadow material in your own subconscious mind, which no one wants to do. By understanding the nature of the human psyche, and in doing so we'll understand the nature of the universe. No, that self-knowledge is hard won. It is hard fought for, and it is hard won based on where we're at. That's why so many people are loath to do that great work. We have to understand neither of these aspects of creation, spirit and matter, are primal to each other, are superior. Neither are inferior. They are all part of the one and the all. Again, you want to know where the spiritual realm is? It's right here. And the people who think there is no spirit, they're just equally as imbalanced. You know? That the material, physical aspects of existence are all that exist. Well, there is a spiritual domain, and it is right here. Spirit is not superior to matter. Matter is not superior to spirit. Get it through your head, folks. Understand these are one and the same. We need to understand that's where the duality that is destructive lies, in people thinking that these are two separate things and warring over the primacy of either one of them.